Okay, let's see here. We are live? Are we live on YouTube?
I do not see us on YouTube at this point.
Okay, check it. Oh, you know what? Maybe I have to hit each of them.
I've got it up on my TV, and we've got people waiting, but
okay.
I don't see us. We're not streaming yet.
It says we're live, so
we are live on StreamYard, but it's not connected to YouTube just at this point.
Okay.
Oh wait, there we are.
We are live?
We're live.
We are live.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Sorry that we are having just a little bit of technical issues. I'm the technical issue. So anyway, let me get this going here. So welcome, everybody. I know that it's a little bit different. You have a little bit different outline, but I'd like to welcome Tim Mothman, who is well known in our chats. But hello and welcome to the Coley and Tim show. Huge shout out to our Helix Rock Radio side, and that's rockradio.live, or download our app, both Android and also it's on the iOS. So it's awesome. We just want to say hello and a big shout out to all our fans on that side. And then also we are streaming on YouTube, hopefully Facebook, Twitter, X, Twix, whatever you want to call it. But tonight we have Twix. We have an awesome guest for you tonight, and that's Mr. Earl Gray Anderson, who is MUFON State Director of Southern California, STAR team member, an executive member of MUFON's the Experience Resource Team, which is the ERT team. He has hosted MUFON's Experiencers workshops. I mean, he definitely is a legend in the UFO, and he's got some great, amazing stories for us. Most recently, he's hosting this Saturday Experiencer workshop in Dallas-Fort Worth. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, go look up Earl. He has personally invested over 1,000 UFO reports and specializes in experiencers' high strangeness cases. He has appeared on multiple radio shows, podcasts, and TV shows such as Ancient Aliens, Steve Bassett's Paradigm Shift, The Travelers Channel, Storm Area 51 Special, the season finale of Motor Trend, Televersities, and then I have UFOs. This will be featured on a new new TV series, which is really exciting, the Alien Disclosure Files. So Earl was featured in 3 documentaries that were released all last year, and I mean, it goes on and on and on. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him on stage and let him kind of fill you in on the rest. So everybody, welcome, and we are excited to be here, and just bear with your technical issue. I'll call myself the technical issue, but let me at him. There he is.
Hello, how are you doing there, Coley? Hi, Tim.
Welcome, Earl. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Glad to have you here, definitely, for our premiere. It's awesome. What better guest could we have? You know, this is awesome.
Wow, that's thanks for the honor, and hey, I'll tell you, I just got over that terrible ear infection that's kind of going around. My daughter, I was just talking with her. She's in San Francisco. She got it. She didn't catch it for me. But it kind of put me out of the loop for a week and a half. I usually have a lot of media stuff going on. But today I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I know we talked about it a little bit, a few days ago. Well, if my ears are all plugged up or something, I might not. But we're doing good. So I'm very happy to be on your show this evening. It's just more or less says I'm back in the saddle again.
Oh yeah, those
So,
ear infections. I know.
it was awful.
Quite a mess.
It was terrible.
Quite a mess.
It was like an echo chamber in my, I mean, you could, like, if you've ever gone in an airplane and you're trying to pop your ears and you're having trouble popping them, and you try talking, it sounds like your own voice is amplified in your
inside your head. Yeah. I know the feeling. Yeah.
It was not pleasant. And it's kind of funny. I was telling the doctor, it's like, well, I mean, at one time I retired after a 40-year career as a hands-on nurse. That was about 4 years ago. Now, UFOs, I'm 24/7. That's what I do. And I love, so love what I get to do. Get to talk with a lot of very interesting people. I kind of am sort of friends with my heroes in ufology. People like, Paul and Joel Hynek. Their father, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, is kind of who I patterned a lot of my work after. He really tried to stay within the parameters of the scientific method as much as possible, which is difficult to do. Scientific method, you want to be able to repeat an experiment, that's part of that. Well, you can't really, UFOs really aren't on our beck and call. I can't really push a button and say, yeah, I'd like to see that V-shaped number that I saw, 4 years ago again tonight. So I get some, theodolite photos and Geiger counter readings. And that doesn't usually work. I mean, there's a few people that I hear, that they can call UFOs and, but I haven't really seen that happen personally. It doesn't work for me. So, but scientifically, that's the way that MUFON works as far as the way that we investigate this phenomenon. And that was really what I was looking for. Would you like to know how I got into this in the first place? Because that in itself is a crazy story. Okay, all righty. So I'm not a young chick, a young chicken anymore. I'm 66 years old. My mom, who now it's interesting finding out that Coley, that you lived in Iowa, and that, because that was my mom's. That's where she lived. She grew up in Muscatine, Iowa, and she apparently, when she had just turned, I believe, 18. They needed somebody to watch the drunk tank over the weekend in the police station.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yes. So now everybody kind of loved my mom. It was a small town, Muscatine, Iowa, watermelon capital of the world. They're also well known because they had these freshwater oysters in the Mississippi River. And they would make buttons with the shells of these oysters. So that was kind of my mom's original job, was working in the button factory. It was just kind of a small town vibe, a Mayberry, Andy Griffith show in real life, more or less. Everybody knew everybody. And but my mom actually got a job in law enforcement. This is a woman, a young woman, back in the 1930s. But I mean, that was unheard of. But somehow or another, that happened for my mom. And I think that may have cleared the playing field for her, for what ultimately became her lifelong work, and the genesis of my interest in UFOs as well. My mom moved here to Los Angeles back in the early 1940s. And she actually got a job working as a secretary for Howard Hughes, the Howard Hughes.
That's crazy.
Now, at that time, he was very, very interested in aviation, of course. The film The Aviator is actually pretty accurate about him. When she was working for him, he'd become a germaphobe, and he kept to himself to the point of wanting his own people to cook his food for him that he trusted. He wouldn't shake hands. He secluded himself. So my mom had an office next to Howard's office, but she never actually met him face to face. She worked for him for a few years, but he wouldn't meet people. He simply wouldn't do it. He was too afraid of germs. So they had an intercom system that they used. It's sort of like the old Charlie's Angels TV show where, you know, you never see your boss, but you talk with them every day over this intercom system. And that was the reality for my mom. She worked for Howard Hughes over at the Hughes Aircraft in Los Angeles. At this point, he also had a movie office because he worked with film production and things like that. And of course, the oil fields. This is how he made his fortune. Was that Howard Hughes created the best drill bit for opening up the oil fields, and that opened up the aviation, which was his first love, and what his obsession really truly was. Thus, The Aviator, the title of the film. It's very aptly titled. Yeah. We had the Spruce Goose here up until now it's in McMinnville, Oregon. I spoke at a UFO festival there last year. I found the Spruce Goose. That's where it went. It was an airplane hangar in McMinnville. But yeah, very interesting guy. He was apparently, and what people don't know is he was very interested in the UFO phenomenon.
I didn't know
he did have a friendship with some of the guys that were doing the contactee meetings back in the 1950s over at Giant Rock over in Joshua Tree. In fact, they had a place where he could land his private plane there, and they had sort of a makeshift bar set up under that giant rock there. So he would fly out there and hear about what was happening with these contactee situations where it's still up for debate to today. Some people say that it was a bunch of BS. But I think that perhaps and probably there actually was some ET contact going on back then as well. And but anyhow, long story short, everybody in my family knew about my mom's work for Howard Hughes. It was no news, that part. Her best friend, Ellen Severson, we called her Aunt Ellen, but she worked for the Rand Corporation, which was a subsidiary of Hughes Aircraft. Now, it's kind of popular in popular culture, and people know about that we have underground facilities. This is how we hide our nation's top secrets. It's how you keep your deepest secrets out of the eyes of the enemy, away from spies, and you can control a certain topic of conversation out there if you hide it that well. And that's no news. People know about this now. Area 51 has an underground. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base has an underground. I know Northrop has one locally. I won't mention where. I actually do know where it's at, but I don't want to divulge any secrets.
Isn't that in the Palmdale area up there?
Roughly.
Yeah,
I could mention the town, but I'm not going to. I don't know, how secret it is anymore, and people tend to talk. In my role as heading up MUFON here in Southern California, you do get to meet a lot of aerospace people, DoD people, DARPA. Interesting friends and acquaintances. So, but anyway, I mean, I do know about this one that I guess Northrop owns, the main underground complex I'm talking about now. In the early 60s, even up until the 70s, you didn't hear about underground secret facilities. That wasn't something that was on television. It wasn't on Outer Limits show or anything like that. It really was a secret thing back then. So I was getting ready to go to school, kindergarten, Wall Grove School, Venice, California. I was 5 years old. I guess I should give a little preamble. I seem to have been born with this obsession with outer space. That was always my safe space. I mean, I would take the books down, Time Life books that we had. I would turn to the satellites and rocket launches and pictures of Jupiter, Saturn, Gemini, all that. Okay, that was my safe space. One of my earliest memories, and I know it caught my mom's attention, was I would climb up the swing set. My dad built this wooden swing set. I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. I'd climb up to the top. We had monkey bars. I'd sit up there and I would wave at the sky and I would sing. And I remember my mom opening up the kitchen window and going, "Who are you waving and singing to, Earl?" And I didn't even think twice about it. I said, "The space people, Mom. I'm waving and singing to the space people."
So, I love it.
Where did this come from? Okay, I have no idea. I mean, this is pre-Star Trek. It was, you just didn't really, of course the space program was starting up. So, most kids were at least kind of interested in it, but I was obsessed. And the space people, somehow I knew that they were out there, and I was trying to make contact with them back 3-4 years of age. Here I am 60-some years later. I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still waving and singing at the space people, more or less, using computers and modern equipment to do it now, but essentially still doing that. So my mom sat down with me when I was having breakfast. It was just a normal day, nothing out of the ordinary. My cornflakes, too much sugar probably. And Mom started talking to me. She was talking to another adult. So it really caught my attention. I mean, there's no baby talk. There was no, sweetie this or honey pie that. It was just like having an adult conversation with her 5-year-old son. And I'll repeat it verbatim as well as I can. She said, "Well, Earl, you know that I worked for Howard Hughes, and family knows that. It's no big news. But there's something about my job that nobody else knows about." And she said, it all began when they sent me out to the middle of the desert, the middle of nowhere. They didn't tell me why. They didn't give me any idea of what to expect. And it was myself and a couple of, a little security details, a couple of security guys. She said that they showed her this low-slung shack, a concrete bunker. But that was the only thing that was there other than cacti and desert scrub and heat waves coming off of the surface of the desert.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they took her up to this shack, and it was all locked up. It had an extensive locking system to it. She said they opened this up, and there was only one thing in that shack. It was an elevator. She thought they were going to show her machinery, or she really didn't know. She really didn't know what they were going to show her and why she was even there. Well, they got into the elevator, and she said that she thought that it would go down a floor or two. And she said, "Well, son, it just kept going. The elevator kept going deeper and deeper." And I was scared. I had butterflies in my stomach, was the word she used. She felt vertigo.
That's pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Pretty fast. Yeah, it was moving at quite a clip. She said when the doors of the elevator opened up, there was a little city under the desert. She said that they got around in golf carts. She said that a lot of German rocket scientists worked down there.
Oh, wow.
She said that people spent a lot of time there. So they would try to make people feel comfortable and at home. You can just figure how much ontological shock a person is going to feel even finding out in the early 1950s that we even had a facility like this. But it was pretty elaborate. They, golf carts, it was large. And she did say it was like a little city down there. She said they had a movie theater, a bowling alley, and that they had cafes and, like the commissaries, but they would try to make it all homey so people wouldn't like lose their mind, a mile under the desert. And later on, she actually used the word. She said it was a mile under the desert, mile under. So anyway, she said that they had a barber shop, but the barber could do my hair for me. My mom had, here's a photo of my mom for those of you that are watching this on your computer screen. So she would usually have her hair permed and done. Thanks. I miss my mom. She was an amazing woman.
Yeah, what a beautiful woman.
Well, it didn't really, I didn't think about it back then, but later on as I got older, I was thinking, well, you don't go down under the desert for one day and have your hair done. She must have been down there for long periods of time.
Wow.
And later on, she confirmed that yeah, she would spend, she was down there.
And did people live down there? Do they have facilities?
They lived down there. Down there. I'm sure they had some, their dorms for them, and they had commissaries. They had entertainment, so they wouldn't lose their minds. And she. So anyway, she talked about this, and she said that that there were. She once. This conversation, it wasn't a real long conversation. She told me that. And then she said, well, son, I know how interested you are in outer space. And you're always talking about the space people. And I just want you to know, I think you should know, that we already know we aren't the only intelligent form of life in the universe. We've already made contact. And you'll be hearing about UFOs and this phenomena where people are reporting flying saucers. And that is a real thing. She said that is a real thing. And we already know that we're not alone. Now it's time to go to school.
And you were 5. How old were you when your mom told you that? Were you 5?
I was 5 years old.
You were 5. Okay.
I was 5 years old.
Wow, that's
thankfully,
a lot.
I have a really good memory.
that's a lot for a 5-year-old to take in. We're not alone in this universe.
Yeah,
coming from your parent,
Exactly. Well, you trust your mom, you trust your father,
right?
You trust your parents, and my mom wasn't known for making up wild stories. My mom went on to, at that point, she was trying really hard to be a stay-at-home housewife, and I don't think she liked it. I think that her life was really interesting before I was born, and it kind of, stopped her from having that interesting life that she had before, but for some reason it got her talking that morning. And I went to school, and as far as I knew, all the other kids, their parents might have worked in underground cities as well. I didn't know. I mean, right. you don't really know what the common shared sense of reality is at age 5. So on one hand, it was, neat. I thought it was really, really pretty fabulous that my mom knew about this stuff. But, I just kind of filed it away. And it would come up every once in a while, like we were watching Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color, I think it was called, because color TVs had finally hit the scene, right? So that was actually in the title. I think it was originally Walt Disney's Disneyland. Then it was Wonderful World of Color, and then it became the Wonderful World of Disney. But he had Werner von Braun on one show, and he was talking about the staged rockets that he helped design. That was, his design was having a 3-tiered rocket and allowed for more ease to get up into orbit. So he was talking on Disney, and my mom said, "Earl, there's my friend Werner. And she started talking about him. She said,
Wow.
Werner, I used to work with him, and he used to call me Betty Grace. That was my mom's first and middle name, like joined together. She said that was like his little nickname for me, but he always called me Betty Grace. Very sweet man, and a very important man. You're going to be hearing about him, son, with the Apollo program and everything coming up. So I slowly, things like that would come to light for me over the years, because I latched on to what my mom told me. And so, apparently she knew Werner von Braun. She knew about UFOs. She knew we weren't alone. She actually worked in a city under the desert. And this was early 1950s.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that is amazing. Wow.
So now, every once in a while, I would hear my mom, and my cousins kind of knew, right? Her sister was in on what my mom had been into when she was working. I don't even know how much my father knew about what she did for Hughes. But I remember my cousins were out, my eldest cousin, and I had a cousin, Jim, who was closer to my age, and then Brad, who was a little younger than me. We heard this heated argument going on in the kitchen. So we were playing Lost in Space, right? Apropos, in the backyard. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. Will Robinson, danger. So we hear an argument going on. Is her and her sister. So we both ran, all four of us ran to the screen door, and we're trying to listen in. Well, my aunt brought over this Look magazine, and on the cover, they had the Betty and Barney Hill story, which was first publicly known account of alien abduction.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I didn't know anything about that, and I don't think any of my cousins did. But there's my aunt with the magazine. She's going, "Well, Betty, you know about this stuff." Number one, Betty, you know about this stuff. Okay, she knew that Mom knew. She said, "What do you think of this story? I think it's crazy. It sounds like bad science fiction." And my mom's looking at it, and she said, "Mary, from what I know, I think that this may have actually happened. This does sound like what they're dealing with."
Oh, wow.
And my aunt, I remember she said, "But this is terrible. I mean, they stuck a needle in her navel." And I had to turn to my older cousin because I didn't know what a navel was, right? Belly button. So he's like, "Shh, it's belly button. Shut up." Yeah. So, I kind of heard the whole story about Betty and Barney Hill at that point. I was 8 years old then. So it was 1966, I think, when that had the when Look magazine published the account. And I sort of remember feeling like my cousins went off, they kept playing, but I kept standing there, and it sort of felt like the universe was pushing in on me. It was that first time where I guess I kind of recognized that things aren't quite what they seem up on top, that there's this deeper story going on in this world that we live in. And not only are we not alone, but it sounds like they mess with us sometimes. It didn't sound like a pleasant situation. Yeah. And I, through the years, I just kind of kept on latching on to these conversations. It was almost like I was filing them away, under Mom's Underground City story. Here's another one, goes along with it. So this would lead me to fourth grade. We had an open classroom. They were kind of playing with that in the late 1960s, where you kind of got to choose what your focus was going to be on as a student. I picked filmmaking, and I don't do that. But in animation, I was working on an animated film with my teacher. She would enter her films into film festivals and stuff like that. So math went out the window for a year. I was just working on filmmaking and drawing and cartooning and working on this animated film. Friday would roll around and we would always have open class and you would have show and tell. And you'd have to sort of prepare something for the class. Well, this time it was, what do your parents do? I talked about my dad's landscaping contractor business, and the kids were kind of yawning. They weren't very excited about it. And I was going to leave, go back to my desk in the night, sort of just on the fly. I said, but let me tell you about my mother. So it's 1968. 4th grade class, Thousand Oaks, California, and there I am with the rest of my class telling them exactly what my mom told me when I was 5, that my mom worked in an underground, a little city that was under the desert with German rocket scientists, and that UFOs and aliens were real. And the kids, now they liked that topic a little more than the landscape contractor stuff.
I bet.
But they started teasing me, right? They would do the little antennae behind my, it's usually rabbit ears, but it was my favorite Martian, right? The little antennae that would come up, and Earl is Spacey Earl and all that stuff. And I guess that my teacher became concerned. She became concerned that the kids were kind of teasing me about it. And plus, where the hell did the story come from? So she scheduled a parent-teacher conference with my mom. And I remember I was at school, and Mom, it was towards the end of the day, so she's going to take me home when her conference was through. So I'm playing in the playground there, probably waving and singing at you-know-who again. And so the walk back to the car was very uncomfortable. My mom was not talking. She opened up the passenger door of our Pontiac station wagon and she said, "Son, I want you to know I'm not angry at you." That's like, uh-oh. What did I do,
Right.
So she gets back in the car and we're driving back. She's driving me back home. She said, "Son, I'm really, really sorry, but and you didn't lie to your class. And what I told you wasn't a lie. It was true what I told you about my old job and about UFOs and all that." She said, "All that is true, son, but people don't know about little cities under the desert. And they certainly don't know about, aliens and UFOs." And at least now I knew what was going on. I knew what she was upset about.
Right.
And she said, "It was my fault. I didn't tell you you couldn't talk about this." And then she said, "How did you remember? You were just a baby." And I remember getting mad, going, "I wasn't a baby. I was 5, Oh my God.
Oh my gosh,
so,
that's amazing.
Anyway, she told me that you can never talk about this ever again. You can't, son. People don't know about this stuff. And I signed stuff to where I'm not ever supposed to talk about it. It's top secret stuff you were talking about in front of your little classmates." And she really looked horrified. Yes, it was definitely show and tell. And she said, I guess to get the major effect, and she was being honest, she said, "Son, if you talk about this again in front of people, I could go to prison. It's that serious. So you can't ever do it." And, we went into the driveway, and that was all that was spoken about it. I don't know that my dad ever heard about it. I don't know how much about this my dad actually knew. He was a very religious man. He didn't want to have anything to do with UFOs or aliens, or, he was pretty much just concerned with life on Earth and that people would follow the 10 Commandments, more or less. And this was definitely not in his wheelhouse. The few times my mom would talk about this stuff, he would look very uncomfortable and he would leave the room. So I think that, I was one of the few people my mom took into her confidence. And when she died, that was the end of any information that I was ever going to get on this subject. She really, she talked about it a little more freely. But when she started going back to work, she went back to work like 1974, 75. She was running an employment agency, but I think it was kind of a cover because she was getting all these scientists out to Rockwell International, out to Lockheed, Northrop. David Grush, the guy, the whistleblower that spoke to Congress, he a little litany of all the different, aerospace companies that are the gatekeepers of this information. Yeah. And it was like my mom's, like a list of her old clients. Those were her accounts.
Wow, that is amazing.
So she actually went back in and worked for this program. She did. And I believe she was working for this program until she died in 1999, because she was working privately. Once Manpower, she left the company. She took her accounts with her. Actually, it was back in the early 80s. They had a younger woman that was going to be her boss, and my mom, no, she wasn't going to do that. So she took her accounts with her. So it would be like just a normal day watching my mom. She'd be on the phone talking to like Ben Rich from Lockheed, or I mean, these should be yucking it up with these guys on the phone. People liked her because she was fun, funny, honest, a good, wonderful person. But how interesting. And so I'm going to tell you one more thing, and this is kind of wraps up why I'm so obsessed with the UFO phenomenon. I took my mom to see the film Star Wars. It was 2 days after it came out. They weren't getting huge crowds yet. It was just it was in Time magazine that day. So the next day, there were lines around the buildings, the theater, to see the film. But we went and we watched the film, and there were maybe 10 other people in this theater in Santa Monica. This was near where my mom worked when she was working for Hughes. She'd just had a clear cancer screening that day. That's why I was with her. I was supporting her because she had recurring cancers, which I believe originated from her work. Found a lot of the people that worked in these underground facilities wound up having, like, they were irradiated. I'm not sure if they were running them off a nuclear pile, but I mean, you have to figure it's off the grid, and that's what I do.
Where are they getting their power from?
Yeah,
exactly.
The ground. Yes, definitely.
So, but after the film, the curtains closed, and my mom didn't want to leave yet. She wanted to talk. She said, "Son, you have no idea how close to the truth that movie is. Star Wars is not far-fetched." She said, the different beings, the different spacecraft, the politics of everything, all that. She said, it's really, really like that, son. And now, at this point, I think I was about 20 years old or so. I have to do my math. Yeah, I was about 20. And I was old enough and cocky enough to start questioning her about it. It was like, well, she said, they will never tell the public, son. And I asked her, I said, why the hell would they not tell the public something this important? I said, this is one of the three big questions. And I actually worded it this way. I said, is there a God? What happens when I die? And are we alone in the universe? Now, why would they keep that to themselves? And she got very serious. She said they're afraid of how people will react. She brought up Orson Welles' War of the Worlds radio broadcast. She talked about how people had barricaded themselves with their, rifle. And I guess one guy was going to do a murder-suicide with his family. He was afraid that the aliens were going to get them, drain their bank accounts. My mom said that they're afraid that that would happen worldwide. It just happened in this, regionally when that radio show went out, but it scared us. The people are not ready for this information. It could harm world religions. It could harm the banking systems. So it's just not going to happen, son. It's realer than you will ever know. And that stuck with me. That actually made me kind of mad. It's like, I want to know.
Yeah, right.
It's not like I want to believe. It's like I want to. I want the golden ticket. I want to understand this stuff. But that was it. That's all that she would say. And it's time to pack it up and go home at that point. And over the years, I get a little bit more from her sometimes. I asked her about Bob Lazar. That story had come out. That story was out.
About that.
He seemed like one of the guys that my mom would get out to work. She would always look for these specialty people that had a gift, and bingo. And so I said, Mom, this guy, I had the story there. I said, this Bob Lazar guy, have you ever heard about him? It sounds like one of your, clients or something. I said, do you know anything about this? And she pulled her glasses down her nose. I do that sometimes too. Pulled her glasses down her nose, and she said, Bob Laser? That's not a real name. She went back to doing whatever she was doing. Changed the subject. Turned it into a joke. When Mom passed away, it was 1999. It's in April. And I knew what I knew when I was 5 years old. I knew what she told me in 1977. And I started reading all the books I could about UFO phenomena, right? Mom's not there anymore. No golden ticket. You're going to have to get that ticket yourself. But people would contradict each other from book to book, and this guy can't be right if this guy's right. And what to believe? And that's when I decided that I needed to put my own hand to the plow, that I needed to do this myself. Otherwise, I'm going off of secondhand reports. And I heard about MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network is the acronym. And the more I looked into MUFON, the more it aligned with what I wanted to personally do. And that was to study this honestly. There's nothing there. I want to know that, and why would Mom make up some lie so elaborate,
Right.
And but that didn't make sense because my mom kept on working for these, high end, top secret, the organizations that are building our most secret aircraft and stuff. She was working on the F-117 project that Lockheed was working on there in the early 90s, late 80s.
Wow.
She had a hand in that stuff. And so I knew that there was, she wasn't lying to me. And I've recently had a couple of DOD guys who have independently of each other told me, I've read your mom's file. Your mom didn't lie to you. She was telling you the truth, Earl. I just want you to know you can be very proud of your mother and what she did. She was a real, true American hero. And I would ask,
Wow.
well, okay, so you told me this much. Can you tell me anything else that's in my mom's file? And they said, no, your mom's file is sealed.
Oh, wow.
This is over 70 years ago. What she was talking about. How could something still be secret from 70 some years ago? But there it is. Yeah.
So you still can't get access to it? Are you able to hear me? No.
I mean, even a FOIA request,
Right.
no, you can't. I can't get access to anything. It's her file is sealed. Apparently, I'm not even supposed to know that she has a file. The one guy told me, "You're in the file. You went and gave a little lecture to your grammar school." Apparently, my mom actually told on herself. I mean, she was that freaked out that I had done what I had done. She was scared it was going to get back, and maybe she was afraid they would put her in prison or something. So I've heard that, there was a count of me, trouble troublemaker Earl, way back then. Yeah, I'm still, shaking the rafters to this day, same stuff. I want it out there. I want people to know.
Right.
And that's when I joined MUFON, by the way. I found out.
I was just going to say, what do you think all the deception is about then? Like, why all of,
I think some of it is snowballed over the years. I think that the way that they dealt with Roswell, and that was real. I know the family, Denise Marcel, that was her grandfather, was the first official on that crash site. There were two different crash sites. One in Corona, where I guess the environment HAB module crashed and they actually found bodies. And one being was still alive, apparently, the story goes. But strangely, the external part of this UFO, it bounced. And that's what came down in Roswell at the Mac Brazel Ranch. They said that it was, they said that the material, they called it memory metal. And Jesse Marcel, he was the head of security for Roswell Air Force Base. A very serious guy. I mean, Roswell Air Force Base is where we sent the Enola Gay from to bomb Japan at the end of World War II. It was our only atomic base. So
only
this guy
one in the world.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And he was the head of security for Roswell Air Force Base. Now they, when he found the debris field, it was a square mile. You could see where the UFO had hit, and it created a great ditch there. And the material was moving almost like it was alive. There was no breeze, but it was sort of moving like it was moving in a breeze. It had the consistency of tin foil, same kind of look, that silver look.
Yeah.
But they shot bolts at it, and they wouldn't pierce this stuff. They used, flame had no effect on it. It wouldn't get heated up even. And we would crumple it up, and it would go right back to its original form. It had some kind of electrostatic, element to it, a charge to it, where it would go back to its original form. And so that's what Jesse Marcel found. They filled the trunk of the Jeep with this stuff. I don't know it was a Jeep, but it was the military vehicle. It was just a car, I think. Filled the trunk up with this weird memory metal, and there were these I-beams that were also included. And if you'd move them just right to where the light was hitting it, it had inscriptions on it. It looked like Egyptian hieroglyphics. It was kind of a purplish color, and it was iridescent. So you'd have to move it until the light caught it just so, and then you could see that. Jesse mentioned that one of the hieroglyphics, it looked like a seal with a ball on its nose.
Oh.
And he actually, he went and he redid the script that he could remember. I think he was hypnotically regressed to get some of the details. But the military went and they told the world that it was a weather balloon, and they made him pose with a weather balloon. You can see the package, the opened weather balloon. The package was sitting there in the background, and if you look at if you look at Jesse Marcel's face, the expression on his face says it all. It's like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's priceless.
You've got to be.
It's priceless. I guess they failed to...
They made him the head of security.
Didn't know the difference between a UFO and a weather balloon.
Well, yeah, but if he were...
Exactly.
This
is the head of security.
Yeah. Right.
You can't tell a weather balloon... and they had lots of crashed weather balloons in New Mexico at that time.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell the difference between a weather balloon and a downed spaceship. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, and that's where, the cover-up began. and it's just gotten worse over the years. Originally, hey, look, it's on my pillow. I got the Roswell Records.
Oh, that's
story.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
The RAF flying saucer, right? And that went out. That went out to the news wires, and they made them retract that, and they came up with a bogus weather balloon story to poor Jesse Marcel's horror. And of course, he signed non-disclosure agreements, and he couldn't even really tell his family what really happened until this came out. Thankfully, people like Hynek and Stanton Friedman and others, the story finally got out there, and Jesse was able to, confirm that yes, this had happened.
Didn't Stanton Friedman say that Lazar, he claimed he was only there for 2 weeks working security, like waving the wand?
He didn't like Bob Lazar.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, Stanton didn't like Lazar. I know the story that he said that he didn't like him because he didn't talk like a physicist. But I know some physicists that do not talk like physicists as well.
Right.
Bob Lazar is a character, and he looked at physics. He looked at things differently, and that's why I asked my mom. This sounds like one of the guys you'd send out to the jobs. I had one friend that my mom got out to Northrop to fix a mainframe computer problem that they were having, and he was just a high school graduate, but he was one of those math whiz guys where he could look at a column of numbers and he could tell you which number didn't belong there in any kind of sequence. The kid was a genius. Really, he was just a year older than I was. And my mom got him out through Manpower Incorporated. This was probably 1976, I think, probably 76 or 77. And he was gone for 3 weeks. And then he came back with a wad of cash, a new car. And he said, "Thank your mom for me. This was very, very helpful. Do you like my new car?" It's like, geez,
Where's mine?
And he asked me, he said, "Do you want to see what they had me do?" And I said, yeah. And he went into the house. He brought back a ream of computer readouts, right? The old school where they're all connected and folded up.
Dot matrix printers, yeah.
Yeah, so he's holding this thing up there and it goes flop, flop, flop on the tops of his shoes, right? And there's this one number that was circled with an old orange grease pencil. It was pre-marker days then. And he points to that number and he says, "You see that number there? That stopped Northrop in their tracks. They couldn't get anything accomplished. The computer systems were completely stopped because of this one bad number." And it just took me a couple weeks to find it. I found it for them. They fixed the problem, and they were happy with my work. He went back.
Oh, wow.
Help with a second problem apparently later on, but I didn't get to hear any of the details. I think they were shutting him down at that point as far as talking about it. But that's what my mom did. She got interesting people out to interesting jobs. She had an interesting one herself.
So what did she tell you?
And I had to become a MUFON field investigator. Okay, I became a MUFON field investigator because you get your own cases. Now I'm the state director here, so I'm the guy that's assigning cases. I've got 13 people that work under me, with me. I mean, I love them all. I look up to them so much. Many of them are smarter than I could ever hope to be. I mean, I've got a private eye that works for me. I've got a retired police detective that closed one of the most stunning abduction cases I've ever even encountered.
Wow.
Literature-wise or anything. Wonderful case. And but you get cases assigned to you. People, if you see a UFO or you have an encounter that's anomalous, if you go to MUFON.com, there's 2 buttons there on the front page. One is report a UFO. The one that's next to it is report an abduction or an entity. And you can pick either or you can do both. You know, sometimes people will see the UFO and then they're in the UFO, you know. You know how that goes. Talk to Whitley Strieber about that.
Yeah.
But
my first.
Anyway, that's the way the MUFON works.
Yeah, it's amazing. We are at the top of the hour.
I'm so glad that you knew where to go.
Well, I didn't. Yes, it's an interesting story, but we're at the top of the hour, so we're going to take a little bit of break.
We can carry on.
We'll be back. Yeah, so let's
continue this
conversation.
Thank you. We'll see you in a little bit, huh?
Okay. As soon as I get this figured out. I said there's technical difficulties. I am the technical difficulty, but we're gonna make.
I think we're still on air, Coley.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. All right. So, all right. Bathroom break. I'll see you guys in a minute.
And I'm gonna get some music going, and we'll be good to go.
Lights in the sky above, questions we can't shove, mysterious stories told, secrets that unfold, experts share their tales, mysteries in the trails, whispers in the night, aliens in flight. Oh, UFOs aren't real, tell me what you feel, aliens unseen, paranormal dream. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch understood, the unknown so surreal, cool news we reveal. Experts talk and share, mystery everywhere, beyond the skies we gaze, eerie endless maze. Oh, UFOs aren't real, tell me what you feel, aliens unseen, paranormal dream. Lights in the sky above, questions we can't shove, mysterious stories told, secrets that unfold, experts share their tales, mysteries in the trails, whispers in the night, aliens in flight. Oh, UFOs aren't real, tell me what you feel, aliens unseen, paranormal dream. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch understood, the unknown so surreal, cool news we reveal. Experts talk and share, mystery everywhere, beyond the skies we gaze, eerie endless maze. Oh, UFOs aren't real, tell me what you feel, aliens unseen, paranormal dream.
boy. Can everybody hear everybody? No.
Yep. Hello.
Oh, you can. Oh, okay. You got.
I can't see you though. Your
Yeah,
camera's
I'm
off.
trying to
Coley.
figure that out.
Oh no.
And I
there
got
you are.
it. Yes. We're getting it. Thank you for bearing with
All
us.
right.
Yeah, so this is great. And everybody, mic's okay, sound okay, everything.
Yeah.
Good so far.
Good.
Yeah, so you told just like a fascinating story. And your mom,
That's my life, So
I have to
I'm
ask.
so used to telling it now because that's kind of what I do. I tell people what I know, and I'm very happy. I have not signed any non-disclosure agreements with anybody.
Good for
So I get to talk about this stuff. I don't know if my mom would be thrilled or horrified because she was hiding this stuff for, she died young, 73, relatively young. But, she couldn't talk about this stuff and she knew about it. But she knew that her son, this little boy was strangely obsessed with this stuff. I'll tell you one other thing. Okay, this is kind of, and it certainly caught my attention. In my 20s, I got a little cockier about asking her stuff. Subtlety didn't work. So, I just asked her point blank. She was walking into the kitchen. I was visiting my parents, and I said, "Mom, please tell me a little bit more about what were you guys doing under the desert? I mean, even just a hint." And she looked at me, and I got the raised eyebrow. She turns around and she's walking away like usual. And she was in the hall. I remember the hallway was carpeted, so you'd hear click, 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 and then it was silent. And then she stopped midway to her room, turns back around, and she had like a little half grin on her face. She came back and she said, "Well, son, I'll tell you one other thing. I can tell you one other thing. You were down there too."
What?
And
wow.
What? Now she's definitely messing with me because I've never been in a deep underground military facility of any sort. And she said, "Yes, yeah. Son, I worked there. I was pregnant with you, and I didn't retire from Hughes until you were born. When you were born, then I retired from that job. But technically, you were down there too." So that explains a lot. Maybe I don't know if the aliens were tooling around with me or something.
Well, they say it runs in family.
In utero, but apparently I was down there as well. Yeah,
Really you were.
We I'll tell you, we see definitely familial connections, especially in the experiencer phenomena, where I had one case, a guy who worked for officialdom. Again, they seem to be very interested in our military. They're interested in our spy network. And but this guy, I can't tell you his name. I can't tell you where he lives because he still works at his old, doing what he did when I met him. But I had one case come in from a TSA agent at a major airport, and he was, head of security. And he had since childhood, 7 years of age, he started having visitations at night by these little gray beings. You've seen them, the big black eyes. I mean, they use them in chicken commercials and stuff now. It's kind of public knowledge. What the small grays and there's tall grays as well, but that's one of the four major groups of beings that seem to be visiting us. Either from the stars or interdimensionally, or some people think that it's us from the future. Honestly, I don't know.
Extratemporal, yeah.
I mean, they're bipedal, a head and shoulders and 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes. Maybe that is what we turn into when we, live emotionless. And
Dr. Masters likes to talk a lot about that. Yeah. Good guy, yeah.
He's a good guy. He knows his stuff, and I'm open to that. Honestly, if you're doing due diligence as a ufologist, and I will use the U word now, because I have personally investigated over 1,000 cases. It's probably around 1,300. If I, for a long time, the experiencer cases at MUFON, we wouldn't even keep it was certainly not on the computer system. We would keep those notes in a locked safe. And that was how intensely we were as far as protecting these people's identity, because it can ruin your life. Kathleen Martin is my mentor, and I find this interesting that Kathy, I heard that story about her family when I was 8 years old. It made this huge impression on me, and here I am. Kathy is who I answer to. She's who I go to if I get confused about something. And she'll tell you that she is my mentor. She is. But her family, they did not want that story out about that abduction. The Barney Hill, he was very deeply involved in NAACP, the early, trying to keep things fair for people
Civil
of non-white lineage. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And the family, they were all, teachers, and we're talking very intellectual and people that were already known, but not for UFOs, not for aliens. And when that story came out, that wasn't supposed to come out. That journalist lied to the family, and he exposed them and their names and even where they lived, and it became a real problem for her family. And boy, they were pestered. They had what appeared to be CIA or one of the alphabet groups would break into the house and steal things, and it became a real problem for that family. So we were really, really careful, and still are. If somebody wants to remain anonymous, there's a button you click on that report that you put in, and we honor that. I will. So, but anyway, this guy, the TSA guy, going back to him, his visitations began when he was a child. It was very elaborate. It was always the same two beings. He actually gave them names, and he still sees them to this day.
Oh, wow.
It's been all these years, and he still gets, like, I guess he kind of refers to it as a tune-up,
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure what all they're doing with his consciousness and all this, but they're still active in his life. It's the same two guys.
Wow.
But anyway, he didn't really know about his birth family, because we'll find that they'll usually be the father or the mother or the grandfather. It's usually, it seems like our visitors are interested in certain bloodlines, certain patterns of DNA, and they'll follow a family. So anyway, he found out who his birth father was, and his uncle was still alive, but he lived in South America. So my friend, he is my friend now. It started as a case, but this is the way it usually happens. You get to know these people, you become close to them after years,
Sure.
And I wind up being who they will call, if they have like something that's concerning them or upsetting them. You can't go to the urgent care and say they're abducting me too much right now or something. They'll that doesn't work.
No,
anyway,
contact with the MUFON. I always call MUFON Dave or MUFON Fred. Like, they.
Everybody, huh? That's cool.
I know.
David, if you're talking about David McDonald, he's my boss. He's the big boss guy.
David Creeder in Iowa. He was the one that investigated my first case. So
cool.
I still keep in contact with them.
Yeah.
So great guys.
I love MUFON. I love working for them. I tell people I'm a lifer, and that's true. 10 years with them now, and But anyway, my TSA guy, he found out that his father had the exact same story that he had. His father is deceased now, but he was in South America, and he was complaining and horrified when he was a child because these creatures were coming into his room and bringing these machines in and doing this weird, like medical stuff. And he found out that his father, that they actually had committed this man. Apparently, I think that people are more open to the idea of alien abduction, visitation here now. There's not quite as much stigma now as there once was, although it's still there. But anyway, they actually put his birth father in a mental facility because he was reporting the same thing that was happening to my friend,
Wow.
contemporaneously. So this runs in families. It does, My mom had a weird experience when she was a teenager, and she called it ball lightning, but it was actually, I believe, a Foo Fighter that they used to see during World War II. My dad actually saw Foo Fighters. He was a B-17 tail gunner over the European theater in World War II.
So
he would see it, but my dad, but my dad, he was just very uncomfortable with the idea of alien life. So for him, it had to have been some atmospheric thing like St. Elmo's fire, I don't know. St. Elmo's fire doesn't follow you around. It doesn't fly in formations.
Yeah.
And my mom, she talked about when she was 16. No, she was 16 years old. They would sleep on the screened-in porch. I'm sure, Coley, you know about that. The humid summers, that's what you do.
Definitely.
So she and her sister would have their two bedrolls there on the porch. And my mom said that this size of a beach ball, a ball of sparks came right through the screen.
Wow.
So it buzzed like a hive of angry hornets. Went over to where her sister was. Her sister was asleep, and it hovered over her sister. And my mom was up on her elbows. She was watching this happen. Well, this came over to where she was. It was about 1.5 feet away from her, and it just sat there in front of her face, like acknowledging her. And then it went back through the screen. She said that it kept intact. It went right through the screen and was buzzing like electricity. Well, my mom got up and she ran after this ball of sparks, and it was waiting for her. The neighbors, they had an adjacent cornfield to their house. So mom was out there, I don't know what time, 1 a.m. or whatever it was. And this ball of sparks is waiting 30 feet up in the air for her like a puppy dog.
Oh, wow.
So she went out there and she's looking up at it, and she said that it just hung there over. And then she said it popped like a soap bubble. She said it was there 1 second and then it was gone. And when it popped, she said it smelled like your electric train transformer, Earl, which is ozone. It smelled like electricity in the air. So that was my mom. She had contact when she was 16. I don't know about my grandmother or my grandfather. I never had a chance to speak with them or ask, but I'm guessing. I mean, my son and his girlfriend had a close encounter with a UFO last year. I think it was around July 2023. I get a phone call at 3 a.m. and my son and his girlfriend are watching this UFO going through all of these acrobatics that a satellite or a drone wouldn't be able to do.
Right?
So this runs in families. It does.
It definitely does. My brother and my son and my grandmother, she was the first one to see one. So it was like,
wow.
I knew they were real.
I'm the only one in my family who's ever seen anything.
What did you see? Really? You might be surprised. It might be somebody's not talking about it. People are uncomfortable talking about it. There's still ridicule out there. There's less of it, but
I saw a silver
Neil
orb.
deGrasse Tyson will ridicule you.
Right? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
my grandma first saw one. They got a picture of it. She saw it it was in Garnavillo, Iowa, and came back, and somebody who had worked for my grandfather, and his name was Harry, and she said, Harry, you're never going to believe what I saw. And he said, Joseel, you're never going to believe what I got a picture of. And so they saw it, but then they were afraid, so they ended up just, destroying the evidence. But going back and fast forwarding, in around 2000 or in July 2017, then my brother and my son saw one, and my brother came and it was in Cascade, Iowa, and he dropped off my son. He's like, you're not going to believe what we saw, I'm like, well, no, what happened? And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't really think, one way or another about it. But then 2 weeks later, I saw one where I was in the old cemetery at St. Patrick's Church, and it measured to be 50 foot in diameter, and I was 30 feet away, and I was up on a hill. So at that point, there's no, is this real? Is this not? This is real, and this is happening.
Was it disc shaped? Did you see a flying saucer? Cool.
And it came slowly.
Always wanted to see one.
Slowly creepy. But
me too. I've not seen a saucer.
Oh,
I've seen a
great
V-shaped craft.
Shot off.
And
I've seen a V-shaped craft. And I was, How did it make you feel after you saw that? Did you?
Oh, I was like,
did you feel
remember
happy about it, scared, or?
When it was happening, I didn't know. I was just standing there. I dropped my camera, and I was like, just watching it. And my neighbor was with, and she's screaming from the car, like, and I'm like,
wow.
Just I'm gonna stay here. So I'm just, bracing myself. But it was. I remember telling the MUFON investigator Dave, I was like, "Do you think I'll see another one?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think you will." Because after that, that's when everything started to change. And then by December of 2017, then they started coming more and more, and that's when the abduction part started. So it changes your complete course of life, and it does. It's unbelievable how you could think one way, and then it just changes everything. But yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely.
Yep.
It becomes a personal phenomenon. That's what I found. It starts off in the distance. It's a big question mark, but it seems like there's this moment of contact or something engages, and it's different for different people, but it's kind of the same story that I hear over and over again. There will be a family having a barbecue, and the mom points at a distant object. This is one case that was in Fresno. The mom sees this UFO hovering over this mountain. She points and says, "What's that?" The next thing you know, it was over their barbecue, and the family had like 8 hours of missing time.
Oh, wow.
And it was extended family. I mean, this was a mass abduction. It was the mom and her best friend. They were both, the mom was a charge nurse at a local hospital, and her friend was another RN that she worked with. And the main witness was 10 years old at the time. Now she's an adult. And her uncle was involved, her uncle's best friend, and they were childhood contactees. They had contact as children. So this thing is so convoluted, but it does seem to focus in on certain people, certain bloodlines, certain families.
And certain aspects of consciousness, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's all about
consciousness. Like what you were saying about how she noticed it in the distance, and then the next thing you know, it's right there. I had a similar thing happen to me. I saw a little black speck in the sky once. It was in the broad daylight, and I was like, "What is that? Is that a bird? What's up there?" It was like right under the sun. And then I thought in my mind, I was like, "Well, whatever you are, sure be nice to see you closer." And then I looked down, and then out of the corner of my eye, here's this black craft cruising right between me and the mountain. And I was like, "Is that a stealth airplane here in the mountains of Southern California?" And as soon as I had enough time to wrap my head around what I was seeing, boom, it just wasn't there anymore.
Oh, Yeah, they definitely, and I think that we have as well, cloaking technology. A lot of the craft that people are seeing, especially now, you'll see, like, my chief investigator is complaining that you've never seen a UFO, right? It's like, well, you're in the right place. You will now, If you poke at this, it pokes back, dude,
It does.
And he knows that. He quotes me at that, he'll say, yeah, it pokes back. So he was in San Diego, and he sees these 4 black diamond-shaped weird craft that are flying slowly over the beach, and they're heading towards the water, completely unmarked, like you'd cut 4 diamonds out of black paper. Well, there they're going, and they're cruising along like nobody's business. And as they went over the ocean, from the front to the back, he said they seemed to just dissolve as he watched them, like they were there, and then they went invisible, is what they did.
Yeah. So bizarre.
I'm not sure if we use the same cloaking tech that our visitors use. I know that we're trying to build our own UFOs. I believe we've successfully built our own. You talk to some folks at the companies, her old clients, probably tell you more than I could. Won't mention names, but I probably don't have to. And I see what it looks like a little flight pattern sometimes, from Edwards Air Force Base to Plant 42 in Palmdale to Point Mugu area in Ventura County. And it's interesting that there's, a facility at each one of those, that's definitely, the finger's been pointed at these guys. The David Grush, it keeps, I'll mention actually, fingers keep pointing at Lockheed and, those same Boeing, not as much with Boeing though. It's Lockheed. I hear that a lot. I can't say the senior moment, but there's like a handful of groups that I think are the gatekeepers of this information, and I don't think they want to let go of it. They've had the power for a long, long time. Yeah.
I've even heard
Motorola has... one of my mom's big clients was Raytheon and Northrop and all of Grumman. That a lot of people talk off the record. I've got guys that have 90 engineers working under them for some of these groups, and they can't. If I told you, I'd have to kill you, right? I've heard that a few times.
Right.
That's sort of the running joke, but reality, well, I could tell you, but then I have to kill you. I think even Obama said that once in an interview. They were asking about Roswell, and he looked nervous and chuckled a little bit. He said, well, I could tell you, but then I have to kill you. That is what they tell you. But I had one guy that was horrified because I was just going, well, those black triangles, I think that that kind of looks like you guys work, but seems to sort of form fit some of the other, F-117. And he said, well, you're 90% right, Earl. And I said, okay, so there's this other aerospace company. I know that they have a satellite facility right next to yours. It's gated into the same area. So I'm going to say that you guys are building 90% of the black triangles, and this other group is doing the other 10%. And the guy is like, we were on Skype. It's like that painting by Munch, the Scream. He's like, I didn't say that. You will never mention my name in context with this subject ever, ever, ever. Yeah. And even my cousin, right? The older cousin that I had to ask what a navel was when I was 8. He's like a mucky muck for one of these companies. I don't know if my mom, pulled strings for him or if he did that on his own accord. He's a smart guy. So it may have just been him. But I asked him about the triangle. So this was maybe 12, 13 years ago. It was before I was even a MUFON member. I'd just been reading about it. And he looked horrified that I even brought up the subject. Like, we're we're going to Cirque du Soleil, and we're not going to my facility, so we're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about that. Wow.
So, but I wonder, how much they're going to tell us and when. I mean, this stuff is like bursting out at the seams. With the whistleblowers that are coming forward now. Lou Elizondo's book is out.
Yeah.
It's time for them to pony up and just say, yeah, we can't tell you everything. Okay, we can't share this, because as soon as we share everything with you, we're sharing it with Russia and China.
Else. Exactly.
But yes, and I think that we're kind of on the cusp of this. I think that it's getting a little more relaxed. We got the Skinwalkers, the Pentagon book by Colm Kelleher and those guys about 3 years ago, I think. And now slowly we got Elizondo's book. That was a good book and is very accurate. MUFON was working with the early, the Bigelow. I mean, they're the guys that acquired the $22 million that Harry Reid, acquired to research this officially. And so, MUFON, we knew Lou Elizondo. He'd come over and pick up certain items that we had from certain cases. Shouldn't go into it too much, but no, the guy, he's who he says he is, and he was working for who he said that he was working for, and he had all the official okays to do that. So hopefully we get, I don't want the president to necessarily go out in front of the public and say that it's real, because half of the country, it wouldn't matter who is president. Half of the country is going to call it fake news. They're going to call it fake news, right? Which I guess is a real good cover for these guys. I mean, nobody's going to trust whoever does disclosure. We have no Walter Cronkite in the building, kids.
Right. Yeah.
What we're doing right now is disclosure.
I think so too. What do you think about Lou's claim of the phenomena? Like you were saying earlier, if you poke at it enough, it's going to poke you back. And Lou
it's poked at me.
Lou, I'd like to hear about that, but Lou also made that same assertion out of his book, or in one of his most recent interviews that I saw with Rogan, and he said his wife and him were having orbs coming into their house.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah. I haven't had orbs, but my wife and I had an experience about 9 years ago now. It was when I was really starting to poke at this phenomenon. I mean, when I say that I, have investigated over 1,000 cases, we're talking, I've gone, when it's been appropriate, boots on the ground. I've taken theodolite photos of the area and where they interviewed every family member, interviewed friends when available to find out the veracity of the person. Once in a while you'll get somebody that thinks we're going to make them famous or put them on Ancient Aliens or something. Right? Right. So sadly, we do get hoaxes, and I have to be very careful. And there's a fine line that you have to walk when you do an investigation properly. Can't have presuppositions made up. You can't decide, this guy is a fraud. Oh, this guy is for real. No, you have to have a clean slate. You have to go in there almost like sterile type of environment and approach this detail oriented. And I can't go in there as a true believer. I have to go in there as a skeptic.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that, though, is, and I've told people this, and I'm serious, you can take any one of my cases. Out of 1,000 and some cases, I have about 100 that I can't explain, that got the UFO disposition on the case report, because we do have to come up with a decision whether, how we lean towards a particular sighting. If it was a bunch of balloons the guy saw, you still want to be respectful. You want to be sweet to the person, and you don't want to come off like a jerk right?
So,
I mean, I won't tell somebody you did not see a UFO. I won't do that. If there was a launch from Vandenberg and it happened to be those exact minutes that the person got the video, I will show them that video, but they have to make their own mind up. And this means a lot to people who have had an experience. That's another thing. Sometimes people have an actual experience. They may have met entities. They may have been abducted, the whole 9 yards. You start looking over your shoulder at that point. So you might see a little drone flying, at the end of your street. Some kid and his grandpa are doing. I mean, I had one case like that where it was the grandpa and his grandson, and this guy knew he was seeing a UFO. I finally told him, you know what? Why don't you just run after that UFO? I was that sure of what he was seeing because he did send video. And he's running and he's huffing and puffing, and he gets there and he's going at it. So it's a guy with his grandson played with a drone. You're right, And I don't feel good about being right. I want it to be a UFO, you guys. Right. I think everybody at MUFON, we always want it to be a UFO. But you have to go in there and be honest. You have to be a skeptic yourself, because if I'm not, somebody else is going to be. If I have a loose thread on a case and I screwed up somewhere, somebody's going to find that. So I'm very, very careful. And I've got 100 cases roundabout, maybe a little over or under at this point, where out of those 1,000 cases, I will go into a courtroom and say, this is unexplainable. This is a UFO. This is not anything that humanity can create right now as far as we know it. If it's a black project, well, it's pretty technologically savvy. When things appear and disappear, they seem to use a portal, interdimensional travel to get from here to there.
Right.
I don't think we can do that yet.
I mean,
maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And that's how they get around, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I got one guy in the UK sent me a video, and he was a skeptic, right? He was a guy that liked to debunk UFOs. And so he knew me, he's always kind of, ragging on me. Well, he is out and he thought that he was watching a balloon, and he's like videoing this thing, and it winds up, it's this perfect saucer shape with a cupola on top. It's Coley's flying saucer, right? It's a classic flying saucer out of a 1950s movie. Well, we watched this thing go into what looks like a hole in the sky, and then it all closes up and it's just nothing but a blue sky.
Oh my gosh.
And I've had people try to debunk this video. The Mick Wests of the world, if you know him, he's like the new Phil Klass, right? And I actually wanted to debate him in front of a Zoom audience, wouldn't do it. Manager says he doesn't do debates. So, but chicken.
Yeah, right.
But anyway,
he does do interviews.
There's no way. I mean, I had one guy trying to say that this UFO that this guy in the UK saw was a balloon that popped, and the black hole that it went into was it outgassing, right? And it's like, so, right. So this balloon is exactly, it's silver, it's reflecting light. It's got a little cabin on top. And we watched this go into a hole in the sky, and then the whole end, that craft disappear. And a balloon, I want to see where you're getting your balloons. It might save NASA some trouble. So that's that's the way that it has to be. We have to be
the swamp gas. Yeah.
Yes. Swamp gas. Yes. I'll tell you, the way that I feel is it's this balance on a tightrope where you're equal parts skeptic, equal parts true believer. I know this phenomena is real. I've seen beings, right? I've had contact. I know it's real. And that's, without my mom, even the information from my mom and all that officialdom stuff where they confirmed my mom's story. I know it's real, but I have to treat it like I don't know it's real. I have to
Right.
treat it like I'm a skeptic, because that's the only way that you can do this properly. And that's how you know your UFOs from your balloons, kids. You know.
That's what I do with my own sightings. I try to think of
So don't get mad
everything
at the MUFON field
that could be.
investigator when he's asking you questions. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you want to know. It's like, it's almost like you wish at first what you're seeing isn't what you're seeing. Like, you know,
Right.
did I really see it? But
Oh,
then
see
it's
an
so
actual UFO.
amazing. It's so
It's
amazing.
shocking. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
John Mackey used the word ontological shock, and that's like when your sense of reality and everything that you hold near and dear to you that's real in this universe is pulled out from under you like a rug, and you're like hanging there, you know, spinning in the air. That's what it feels like. And you don't do what you've been trained to do, I found. And I 4 years ago, when I had a close encounter with a craft, I was 35 feet away from it, closest approach. I believe that I watched it leave, and it confused me because suddenly it seemed like it was right in front of me in my face, and yet it was like miles away. I was looking at it through atmosphere, right? Like through the smog, like it was far away, but yet it was right in front of me. I was so aggravated when I was seeing it because I was really under their mental influence. And the closer you are to a UFO, the more effect that they will have on you. It's like the Jedi mind trick. So you forget you have a phone in your pocket. You forget that you take a video. I'm a trained observer. I know exactly what to do. And when I was in that position, I didn't do one single thing that I've been trained to do. It was suddenly not in my wheelhouse. It was just simply not there. And I was embarrassed. I mean, I was ready to fire myself from MUFON. Honest to God, I felt like I was the worst UFO investigator that ever lived, because I drove right past that miracle, the smoking gun, because I was going to be late to work. That was the excuse they gave me in my head, you know. I'll be late to work. I hated that job. So what I'm talking, I mean, it was one particular job I was working at the time. It wasn't an easy case. But anyway, I once I was 3 miles away from that craft, I pulled my car over. I'm face palming. I'm like, what the hell did I just do? Or what did I just not do? And I think that it was to teach me something about this phenomena, that you can train and you can, you know, run through your mind exactly what you're going to do. You know, Michio Kaku, the scientist, recently said, if you've been abducted, grab something, take something, you know, from the ship, so you have that proof. Well, no, you're not going to think about anything that they don't want you to think about. No, they run the narrative.
You have to make a conscious effort to do it. Because I remember after I said, I'm like, okay, next time I go on, I'm gonna feel something.
Good luck.
You know what I mean? I'm like, temperature.
Call if you get something, because I want to see it. But good luck. I mean, Betty Hill, they showed her something like an iPad that had the star system, Zeta Reticuli, that apparently they were at least telling her that they were from. It's just up for debate. I mean, I think a lot of this phenomena is probably interdimensional. It's right next door. But maybe they are from Zeta Reticuli. You know, I mean, it is a binary system. It looks like the main primary planet is a terrestrial world. So perhaps they were being honest. But she wanted to take the iPad with her. And I guess the guy that was working with her was an apprentice or something. He was going to let her take it, and then the big boss man with the black eyes, he takes it away. He's like, no, you don't get to take anything. And as far as I know, I've never met anybody that has gotten a souvenir. I guess there's one case in Brazil where there was some. Well, we won't talk about it. It's a family show, but the guy had an encounter, and it had to do. It became sexual in nature, and I guess that there was something that he could have that was under a microscope that it shouldn't have existed in this world. So, I guess that maybe sometimes it's possible to get some kind of a souvenir from abduction, but not that I've seen, not intentionally. I don't think they let you get a postcard from,
No, I don't
the
think
crowd.
I don't think so.
But
I wish they did.
I just don't feel like they're in our same time. I feel like we're in their time and their space. I don't know how we even get it. I've seen and they've shown me a lot of things, and it's definitely a different world. It's not like you even. I mean, there's so. I said when something like that happens, I remember someone saying, "Were you afraid?" and screaming and yelling. I'm like, no, like you're just so taken back. It's like seeing something you've never thought possible for the first time. You don't know how we're going to react.
Frequency,
Then after a while,
people react weirdly.
Screaming, yelling, like my whole neighborhood knew. It's like got a little watch, UFO watch thing going on. But yeah, at first though, I was like,
when you see one, when you see a UFO, that was a UFO. If that was a real UFO, there's no question about it. It hits you on so many different levels.
You lock into it.
It's very, very poignant experience to have. And I'll tell you, we're not alone. I mean, I don't believe this is our government pretending like it's aliens, I mean, I guess Stephen Greer now is trying to say that all abductions were the government. I don't think that we had something that could do what Barney and Betty Hill space
or Whitley Strieber for that matter
did.
So.
I think Greer is just grasping at straws at this point.
We just simply did not have. Yes, exactly. And Whitley is right on, and he's honest. And what happened to Whitley happened. 100%. I've met Whitley a few times. I'm getting to know him better now because he's a close friend of close friends of mine. But I have great respect for that man. It was very difficult coming out and telling that story. When he went and told that story, that he was a pioneer, just like the Betty and Barney Hill were pioneers. And this phenomenon has been with us forever, I think. I think that it's been here alongside of us and may have even created us. May have had a hand in that. So, So it's here, they're here. It's active. It's a real phenomenon. Yeah.
It is.
And
we have our own
out
disclosure.
there in listener land.
Yes.
we are disclosure. You, Tim, and you, Coley, you guys are disclosure, as am myself.
Same thing.
This
and
is how
thank you, Earl.
happens.
Like you're part of the disclosure. I was just explaining this to somebody last night. I'm like, they're like, I want to be a part of the disclosure. I'm like, you are. If you're out there talking it, you're a part of the disclosure because they're not going to believe the government. We don't want the government anyway.
So we only have 10 minutes left.
Joe Biden or Donald Trump getting up and saying that UFOs are real. Half of the country, they will not believe. They will say that dementia or they finally lost their mind completely. It's not going to happen that way. I don't think that there's anybody that everybody trusts.
No.
Joe Rogan, that was a wonderful interview. And I don't really align with all of Joe's, stuff, right? But with UFOs, I'll tell you, he's very good and right on, spot on. That was a wonderful interview.
I thought so
that was
too.
Disclosure.
Yeah.
That's disclosure. And this is disclosure. And you guys out there at work, wherever you are, when you talk about this and you talk about it seriously to your colleagues, that is where disclosure happens. Right. That is where it happens.
It is. I believe that.
I know people
I'm watching all everybody's little comments coming.
Yeah. I tell them to do their own
older.
Research. Like I'm past that point. I'm not going to convince anybody, but it's enough to, it's enough to put out there, get them thinking in a different direction.
Well, the old meme, I want to believe. I'm way beyond that one. I know, and those of us who know. But now I think it's kind of about how do we tell people and how do we do this and keep it palatable to people. I will say this, my life is richer for my contact than I haven't really lost anything from it. It's made my life deeper. It's made my art deeper. You know, I'm a musician. I'm an artist and writer sometimes. You know, and I believe that it's made me a better human being. My compassion. When I, you know, this is something that you don't hear out there, but it's an aspect to this phenomenon. The ETs are when you meet them or you have a close encounter with a craft, it changes you and you're left with certain gifts. Now, oftentimes people are so ontologically shocked and horrified that they never get past that speed bump of ontological shock. And that's where you have people just like, oh my God, it's an invasion. It's the end of the world. They're going to eat us. It's lizard people. It's
Suck
this,
our
it's that, you know,
out. Yeah.
running everything. I know. This is what humans do. You know, we get horrified by everything and then we just take it to the finish line of whatever the most horrifying thing we can think of is. But if it's an invasion, it's certainly a funny way to do that, because if this started, say, with the Kenneth Arnold sighting in 1947, all right?
Yeah.
We're talking, you know, coming on 80 years now. And our visitors have never threatened us with nuclear annihilation. They've never threatened to kill us, destroy us, to invade or take over. But how many times have humans done that to each other? I mean, right now, the Armageddon clock is like 1 minute to midnight or less. Yeah. I mean, they keep on pushing that minute hand closer and closer. And so funny, you know, when ETs come here and they deal with the military, they turn off nuclear missiles.
I've also heard of them turning on.
Bob Solis, who was the head, you know, well, yeah, they did that in Russia. They wanted to scare them, but then they turned them off. And they made them so they couldn't turn them back on. I mean, this is, you know, I had the misconception, and Bob Solis had to correct me. He's a friend. He and his wife actually come out to my MUFON meetings sometimes, and I love those guys. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Bob, if you're out there. But Bob, he said that when they shut down the missiles, it wasn't like an electromagnetic pulse. Some people say it was an EMP they used. No, it wasn't, because the computer systems were on, the air pumps were on. They had to pipe air down to the capsule that they worked in. Yeah. The radio and the video and all that was still working. Lights, everything was on.
Just
but the guts of those missiles, yeah, they just attacked the nuclear missiles, and they made it so they had to pull them out of the launch tubes, and they had to completely fix those missiles to get them so we could destroy the world again, you know, if need be, I guess. This is what they do. They turn off our nuclear weapons. They you know, people have close encounters in the military, and they're told, you know, three things people are here. Number one, nuclear war is unsurvivable. If you try it, you will destroy yourselves. You will destroy civilization. You will not survive a nuclear war, so don't do it.
That's it.
Number two, stop trashing your world. Stop treating it like it's yours to plunder, like it's your resource. This is your Mother Earth, and you're one cog in a giant system. Stop treating it like your trash pile. Number three, that everybody hears, they get this telepathic message, is you need to better yourselves as a race. You need to live on a higher frequency, a higher vibratory level than you're living on, because your technology is way up here, and spiritually and socially and everything else, you're like Attila the Hun and his, you know, band of marauders. And that's, you know, the sad, sorry state of humanity. They want us to better ourselves. And if we do, when we do, I mean, we have to.
You know, we will.
You know, nuclear war is not going to happen. And we're not going to survive that. If we do this, I think that there's probably something like Star Trek out there, and maybe we'll be invited to join.
Yeah,
but I think that this is our test. We need to get past this. We're not ready for prime time yet. Disclosure could happen right now. If the ETs wanted to disclose, they would just turn off the camouflage,
right.
And the black diamond shaped UFOs are going to show up all over the place. Flying saucer, they could do it right now. They could
right now.
Hey, why don't you? No, I wish.
They're
we're not ready for it.
Do you not think we're ready for it? Or are they not
No,
ready?
I don't think so. I think they're ready for us to be ready. And I think that that something has to happen very, very deep within ourselves to where we stop pointing these weapons of mass destruction at each other and stop treating each other. Humans are so concerned because this person has a different skin color, or speaks a different language, or looks different than me, or eats different food. Now, if we can't accept other humans, how can we possibly figure that we're going to have a relationship with beings that look like praying mantises? I mean, there's so much xenophobia that we have just towards ourselves and each other. So there's so much that we need to.
I think the government comes in. I really do. Like, I just think if they would stay completely out of it and we could show,
Yeah, they're not gonna. And the military, I mean, I've gotten some flack for this before, but I think that the worst gatekeepers in the world for this is the military. They're not the right ambassadors to the stars. I think that it should be philosophers and humanitarians and people with deep hearts.
Yeah. People understand it.
So somebody asked, Polly Rotterman, Earl Grey, since your mother had her experience too, do you think human disclosure is genetically related? Yeah, well, I do know that our visitors are very, very interested in families. Probably the DNA thing is runs deeper than we think it does. It probably has something to do with the personalities that we are, and I think that they pick their ambassadors themselves. I think that I mean, I know that sounds cocky. It probably sounds insane, but I don't think it's random that I'm doing what I'm doing. I think that they knew exactly what I was going to be doing. Probably when I was 5 years old and my mom was telling me too much at the...
I was going to say, do you think blood type comes into it?
Do I think what?
The blood type?
Yeah.
The blood types. I have a
we
rare...
see a lot of people with...
I always I have to ask. I have
RH blood types.
My grandma.
O negative, O positive. Oh, okay. Yeah.
MAB negative.
Oh, there you go. That was my mom. Yeah.
I'm O positive too.
Same as my mom. There
you
go.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How interesting. Now we got to find out more about your mom.
Okay,
here.
the RH and the O.
My parents were O. I was
her maiden name was Maiden. That's confusing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You weren't.
I feel like that's by design. Yeah.
My mom's maiden name was literally Maiden. So you can imagine, I'm talking to Social Security or whoever, mother's maiden name, Maiden. Her maiden name, Maiden.
Yeah.
It's like who's on first, the Abbott Costello routine.
What's on second?
Yeah. Right. But though they're interested in certain blood types and about the O and the RH, they don't know where those blood types came from. It's like they suddenly appeared on the planet. So maybe, maybe we're already related to...
Maybe we already hybrids.
At least you and your grandmother.
Well, my grandmother, she was RH.
I do think that's a thing.
They were O.
I mean, if I could hybridize, if I were the scientist that was ahead of some program where we were, trying to understand some far-flung culture that was different from us, you'd want to go and have ambassadors that were related to them. So, it's impossible apparently for us to do it, but a million years from now, maybe we'll figure out how to create a true hybrid And, you know, I mean, I hear this a lot out there. I do see some evidence for it, and it sure makes sense to me. So maybe that is going on.
So did your mom ever talk about it? Because it is a rare blood type. I know, like, when I go into the hospital or anything, like, they have to make sure, because everybody can have my blood, I just can't have theirs. Like,
yeah.
the way they explained it
I
to
wish I could bring my mom back, or I wish I could go back in time.
Did she leave any
what I know
documents
now
behind? Like, have
Okay,
you
well, that's another
through?
story.
Okay.
She
Now
had
we're
a
getting
safe.
to it here. Yeah.
She had a safe. Okay, and the combination was written on a Post-it that was underneath the safe. And my mom said, if anything ever happens to me, get the safe. There's something for you in there, and I want you to have it. So I knew this. It's family stuff. I don't know how much I should tell you, but when my mom passed away, well, my sister and my mother were not close. They were kind of at odds with each other a lot.
Oh, I know.
And my sister knew about the safe.
Oh, boy.
And so when my mom passed away, I was in the other room crying my eyes out, mourning.
Yeah.
And my sister came with her husband, and they nabbed the safe.
Oh, my God.
They put it on the back of their truck, and they drove it away. I spoke with my sister afterwards, and she said, don't worry, there was nothing of worth in there. There's costume jewelry. There wasn't any money left to us or anything like that. And there was a legal pad with mom's scribbles in it. And a legal pad with mom's scribbles. Well, that would have been shorthand.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it was like the whole pad apparently was she had a full pad written in shorthand. And that had to have been what she was talking about when she said there's something for you in there. She wanted me to know.
Yeah, you probably could have understood it.
She couldn't tell me until he was dead,
Yeah.
So well, what happened to the pad? And
Did you go to dig through
everything
the garbage?
away.
Oh yeah, I've been out
They
there.
kept the costume jewelry and threw out everything else, and the safe, I guess, became a gun safe or something. So
what a shame.
Wow.
That's sad.
Oh,
That's really sad.
I would never forgive somebody over that. That's terrible.
I wouldn't either.
I know.
Did they told you they didn't live local? You couldn't go dig through their trash. Like
they
I would.
they live in Central California, and it was a done deal. It was trash pickup was Monday, and it's like a Tuesday.
That's heartless.
I know.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe they will come around.
And you know what? Yeah, I mean, the best thing in the world would be if that, legal pad still existed and they just squirreled it away somewhere. But I have a feeling that that it didn't end that way. I think that there was just disgust because there was nothing in there of worth, and so it just got emptied into the trash.
Yeah, but did they know there was something for you in there, like specifically?
Well,
did they know that?
I don't know if she knew that or not. I don't know if they knew that or not. Maybe. But I don't think that my sister really knew my mom's story. My mom told me when I was 5, and what did I do? I went and broadcast it to my, 4th grade class. So my sister, I asked her, and my uncle passed away like 12 years ago. And I asked her if mom had told her about, her job in the little city under the desert. I mean, that's what she called it. So I figured that if I just asked her that, if she knew, she would know. And she had no idea what I was talking about. So I think that my mom told me. I don't think that it went, she told my sister.
Well, if your sister can hear this and she's out there and she has some documents, you better hand them over.
I'm not going to mention any names, but you know who you are. And
yeah.
That would kind of heal things up.
And we have people in your area. We have them all over the country. So we could send Tim over.
That legal pad exists. That would be the cherry on top of the sundae. That would... and I don't know what she, my guess is I probably know everything that she would have written in there already because, now I'm like all over this stuff.
Right.
I've spoken with people that probably had higher, security clearances that my mom had, but who knows? Maybe everything was there.
Who really knows how deep she was into this? Like that's the like, you know, phenomenal.
I've had hints from people.
Yeah.
You know, I've had hints. I had one friend of mine that worked for military intelligence back when mentioned, and maybe he knew about, you know, couldn't tell me, but but he said, you know, that your mom would have been considered a hero. That was back in the Cold War. There weren't a lot of women working in these facilities, although there were some. He knew that. He said there were some women that were working in these facilities, and it was, this is as top secret as things get, Earl. He said, now a lot of times these women were not awarded like men would be. It was very unfair back then. I mean, it still is. But he said, your mom maybe has a medal. I mean, they gave medals out to some of these women that were working in these, you know, during the Cold War, yeah.
Oh.
And he said it would be in a drawer. He said it would be in a drawer somewhere. She would never be able to tell you or the family about it. They would have had a little ceremony. They would have taken a photograph with her holding the medal, and that would be in a drawer in a facility somewhere. And he said,
in a facility.
Yeah, he said your mom could have gone to visit that medal anytime she wanted to. That was hers. But she couldn't have told you. She couldn't have told anybody. Now, I have a friend. I have lots of friends. I have one friend who's another musician. He's done some production work for me. And his father was awarded a couple of medals when he was in the Air Force. And he couldn't ever tell the family what these medals were for. Well, on his deathbed, he told my friend that he told him why he had a medal. It turns out that he was an Air Force pilot that they sent out after the Lubbock Lights UFO that was in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, I do.
And apparently he chased after this UFO and his plane stalled and he had to eject, I believe. The plane crashed, but he survived. So, I mean, he went up so high and so fast that the air was so rarefied that a jet engine in a fighter plane wouldn't work. And they gave him a medal for that. And he did tell his son on his deathbed that, your father was awarded a medal for taking chase after an unidentified flying object. And he said it was one giant flying wing of a craft. It wasn't lights. They called it the Lubbock Lights, but the lights were on a boomerang-shaped UFO, and it was just hanging there, and the acceleration of this thing was insane. It took off. But I tried to follow it, and well, they did give him a medal. So maybe in a drawer somewhere. Maybe if disclosure happens someday, I'll get to see that if it exists.
Visited often? Like, do you have? I mean, an inclusion. Where are those underground tunnels? Let's go, Earl.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I think that's your birthright. Like, you know.
Polly Rotterman's asking me, do I have an implant, Earl? No, I don't have a Earl implant. No, I like a little Earl-shaped implant. I think maybe I did at one point. I had some hard object that mysteriously appeared on my left calf behind. And it was there for a few years, and then it's not there anymore. It just like disappeared. So, that's the only possible implant. Spirits and alien connection. MUFON is very nuts and bolts sometimes. I do work for MUFON, but I believe there's a connection between the paranormal and the normal, although I don't think that the word paranormal is the right word for it. I don't think it's para anything. I think we need to expand our idea of what normal is. We've known that the universe is based on quantum physics, right? Spooky action at a distance, intention of the scientist actually changing the experiment, like the double slit experiment they did with light particles. had to come up with a bogus word for it, a wavicle, which is a nonsense word.
Right.
You know, it's either a particle or it's a wave.
Right.
But
A wave
whatever the scientists expected to see in this experiment is what they would get. So their intention changed the way the universe operated. And that is the kind of universe we live in. But they want us to think that it's still Isaac Newton and the simplistic idea. And, you know, day-to-day life, sure, Newton's laws are good. You know, two objects can't, you know, be in the same place at once. You know, if you jump out of a window, you'll die. You know, gravity is real. But the way that we look at it with Newtonian physics, it's sort of like the toolbox, finding a screwdriver and stuff, when actually you need a laser. You need you need like modern equipment, and that's just an outdated mode of looking at things. But if you want to keep people, you know, disinformed, it works really well to quote Isaac Newton instead of, you know, talking about Schrodinger's cat. Yeah. But we know that Schrodinger, we know that is actually the accurate view of how the universe works. And I think that, you know, what we think of as paranormal is actually part of normal. It's just different dimensions. Yeah.
I do too. Where do you think they cross? Do you have any idea or any thoughts on that? Where they cross?
What do I think? What?
Where the paranormal and ET cross? Like, where?
I think that it's always happening all the time. It's always. It's not like the universe suddenly shifts and, you know, you see a ghost or something. I think that they're always there. Maybe our perception changes sometimes. Maybe we're more acclimatized to receive that information sometimes. But I think it's always there. It's in tandem, and it's a part of, you know, I mean, it's science, but we just don't understand it yet. So, you know, 150 years ago, they didn't believe that rocks fell out of the sky. You know, they didn't think rocks fell out of the sky. And we know that there's such a thing as a meteor and a meteorite. But they would laugh at you and they would ridicule you if you said that. And it's the same thing today. I think that it's easier to point and laugh and ridicule people. That's the quickest way to get them off your back and make them a non-problem. And the Robertson panel, they convened 1960. I always get my dates wrong, but 61, I believe, 62. The question was, how do we deal with the public in this knowledge? People are seeing flying saucers. This was after the White House had UFOs fly over it 2 times in the space of a week. So this was becoming active. Our visitors were getting cockier. They were showing themselves, and people were reporting this. They were seeing what you saw, Coley, what Tim's seen, what I've seen. So they decided ridicule was the best way to shut people up. Bring out our top scientists. We'll have them laugh at you, say that you should be, you know, in a mental facility or something because you're talking about such things. And it worked for a long time. Still, I mean, you turn on mainstream media, they talk about UFOs, they play the X-Files. They roll their eyes.
Exactly.
You know, and they laugh about it. It's happening a little less now, okay, with the quality of the people that are coming forward now. I think that it's shifting a little bit, but there's still ridicule out there. Polly is asking, what is disclosure for the aliens? I think we were talking about it earlier. I think that we, as a race, need to change a bit. That we need to be less violent, have less warlike natures. And how does that happen? I don't know. Raise your vibration. You know, meditation is one way to do that. Prayer is a way to do that. Get off the phone, you know, and have some alone time with yourself and the universe. And, you know, you can meditate, you can pray. There's all kinds of ways to do that. And maybe if enough of us do that, and we can change the path that humanity is on, this destructive, reprehensible path that we've been on, that we call history. Now maybe we'll be ready for them and ready to join this galactic community. I think it's probably out there.
I think we're a long ways off.
I don't think we are.
I do, unfortunately. I mean,
I keep working towards it.
Yeah, I keep hoping for it too. Yeah, but people like us,
there's more and more people like us.
Yeah, there is.
There's more and more people like us out there.
Yeah, that's true. Thank God.
Well, you guys, I'm probably have to tap out of here pretty soon. We went a little over, but that's okay. I'm having a fun time with you guys.
Definitely.
Do you want to plug your book?
Yes.
Do you want to plug your book before?
Well, I don't have it out yet, but I will. I'm writing a book that's going to be called the Gray Files, and cool. It's probably about half of the book. I've been writing a regular column for Outer Limits magazine, which is a British periodical. It's a UFO, very, very wonderful UFO periodical. And you can find it if you go Outer Limits magazine, UFO, and the information will come up for you on the Google machine, right? But I've been sharing a case. I got permission from MUFON, actually. I had to ask my, folks at headquarters, because this is important, and it's, MUFON's IP, right? But I was given the okay if I, redact the names of the witnesses, unless they want to be known. I have a couple of people that have come forward of their own accord. Then I can bring up names. But I redact names, I redact any information whereby somebody might be able to find out who these people are, because you don't want them to be pestered by officialdom or by pesky people, or, you have to remember that lives have been ruined through having persons' stories disclosed to the public. Betty and Barney Hill being case example number one. So, but I already do this, and I redact names and all that stuff. Okay. And I probably have a good, I figure, maybe a couple more cases in there, and then my personal anecdotes that you guys just heard will be the other half of the book, and my mom's story and my story.
Awesome.
And hopefully it's going to be out probably early next year, but it keeps getting pushed forward. I had a possibility of it being a TV series at first, and then I was like, okay, well, wait on the book, but now that's kind of on, we'll see what happens. It would be nice, but I'm going to go with the book first. So it is going to get out there. It'll be called The Gray Files. If you want to find me, I'm pretty easy to find. I'll even dox myself a little bit. If you want to get a hold of me personally, it's earlgrayanderson@gmail.com. It's that easy to get a hold of me. If you want to see my local MUFON group, go to socalmufon.com. Has a little biography of all my field investigators. I do write a monthly blog in there, and it's a good way to keep track of what we're doing here in Southern California, which is the world's greatest UFO hotspot.
Oh, I can testify to that. If
you see a UFO, or you've seen a being, or you've been abducted, don't mess around. Go to MUFON.com, MUFON.com, the Mutual UFO Network. Choose the appropriate button. I've seen a UFO. I've had contact with a being. Click on that. Put in a case report. It'll take you 15, 20 minutes. Maybe longer if you have a long story,
Right.
But that will go to somebody like myself. It will be assigned to a trained field investigator at MUFON, and they really train us. They mentor us. I personally want to make sure that if you speak with one of my field investigators here, it's the same as speaking with me. They and a lot of them are probably trained in their areas of expertise much better than I am. Police detective. I have police detective.
Wow,
he has
that's
so much
awesome.
compassion. He's like taken so many of my experiencer cases because he's so good and so kind to these witnesses, and it takes that special touch.
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
That's how to get a hold of me.
All right.
I do have a podcast on KGRA called MUFON Contact Radio. You can watch me there, or just Google me. It's Earl Grey with a Grey, or Earl Grey Anderson. And, I've always got some stuff going on. I'm a busy boy.
Very cool, Earl. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And hey, I'll come back if you ever want me back again.
That'd be amazing.
I enjoyed hanging out with you. Best of luck and blessings with your show.
Yeah, I think Coley lost her audio, so I guess we'll just close it out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, can you hear us
there,
Coley? Hi, Coley.
I see a beautiful smile, and we can hear you a little bit. Thank you so much, you guys.
All right, thank you, Earl. It was a pleasure talking with you. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Oh, I just got it. Hallelujah.
We'll talk again soon, Coley. Thanks so much for inviting
we'll have to
me.
have you back on. Oh, yeah, you've been wonderful. I don't know what happened. My power, it was really weird. When you said something, just like shut off the little ring thing I have in the audio. And I was like...
I'm not saying it was aliens, but...
Yeah, maybe they're mad. I thought I was going to ask where those tunnels are.
Weird stuff with audio and computers. I won't even go there, but I think there are probably some organizations that are interested in what we're talking about as well.
Definitely.
You're all welcome. I love you all.
Yes. I'm so intrigued. You've got so much more story to tell. So I'd love to. I'll be in touch and book a day. Oh, great! That's awesome. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Right, so thank you so much, and enjoy your movie. Tell your wife thank you for letting us have you.
Appreciate that. All right, you guys.
Take care. And then we are going to go on a short break. So as soon as the technical difficulty being me. It just takes me just a couple seconds here, but no, I got this. I've got this. Oh boy, here we go. Fill in the blank. I got it, and then it went off. Oh boy. Okay. There we go, and. Oh, just do this. Okay.
Legends where mystery stood. Cryptids creeping in the night, searching for that hidden sight. Journey into the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore to the end. Don't ask why. Paranormal tales unfold, ghostly figures icy cold. Shadows dance down haunted halls, their silence it loudly calls. Outlaw incidents abound, secrets buried in the ground. E.T. whispers in the air, hold your breath if you dare. Journey into the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore Journey into the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore to the end. Don't ask why. Paranormal tales unfold, ghostly figures icy cold. Shadows dance down haunted halls as silence it loudly calls. Off-world incidents abound, secrets buried in the ground. E.T. whispers in the air, hold your breath if you dare. Journey into the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore to the end, don't ask why. How? To the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore till the end. Longing into the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore till the end. Don't ask why. Journey into the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore till the end. Don't ask why. Paranormal tales unfold, ghostly figures icy cold. Shadows dance down haunted halls. Their silence it loudly calls. Off-world incidents abound, secrets buried in the ground. E.T. whispers in the air, hold your breath if you dare. Journey into the unknown, where the secrets are shown. UFOs in the dark sky, explore till the end. Don't ask why. Up in the sky, strange shapes passing by, whispers in the night, the unknown takes flight, aliens and dreams, paranormal dreams, secrets in the mist, hidden truths persist. Tell me what's out there, secrets we can share. UFOs and stars, mystery so far. Cryptids in the sparks like it should. Echoes in the dark, leave a lasting mark. Experts leading way, truths they need to say. Peeling back the veil, tales that never fail. Tell me what's up there, secrets we can share. UFOs and stars, mystery so far, so far. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch like it should. Echoes in the dark, leave a lasting mark. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch like it should. Echoes in the dark, leave a lasting mark. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch like it should. Echoes in the dark, leave a lasting mark. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch like it should. Echoes in the dark, leave a lasting mark. Cryptids in the way, truths they need to say. Peeling back the veil, tales that never fail. Cryptids in the woods, Sasquatch like it should. Echoes in the dark, leave a lasting mark.
So, I'm not sure if my audio is working, but what an awesome show. And I think at that, we are going to cut everybody loose. And Tim, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but you did a fabulous job. I'm pretty excited. So anyway, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow night. And I guarantee that things will be better. So anyway, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, thank you.